Welcome, you animals, to another episode of the Interview with Agu. This is just a reminder that if you want to be on the show, all are invited and all are welcome. Just reach out to me on any of my platforms or fill in the link in the show description and we'll see if we can have you on. But moving on to today's candidates. Today's guest is a self-made man, the host of the Ambition Diaries podcast, personal trainer, property developer, surfing instructor, and University of Cape Town graduate. Originally from the DR Congo and now calling Cape Town, South Africa his home. He does high rocks, MMA, and influences a whole generation on what it means to be a hustler. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tommy Bompeti Jones.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate you being here.
Cables of 10 on the other side.
Yeah. Get to experience what it's like to get put under the microwave for a little bit.
Exactly, and the lights and everything. Feels cool.
Yeah. I'm super excited about this, dude. I did quite a bit of research into you and I found a lot of the stuff that you do super interesting.
Yeah.
And I wanted to actually start the show with a quote taken from your Instagram that I absolutely loved. You said, I'm 22 and I'm not afraid to admit that I forgot to let go of who I thought I had to be so I can step into who I truly am.
Yeah.
Can you just elaborate on who did you think you had to be and how's that different for the person that you think you are now? And what did stepping into who you are look like for you?
Yeah. So, coming from an African household where, academics is like a major thing, where you study to either become a lawyer, a doctor, and engineer, to follow that pathway, that's what your parents wanted you to be. So now when you're doing studies and all that, you make sure that you try to get good grades so you can actually make that happen. And for a long time, I've been walking through that path. I think for my primary school year, and then when I got to grade 8, I used to be an A student. And then I figured that I could actually do sports. So I started dabbling into different sports, getting quite active, and then you can't, like a lot of people say you can, for a lot of people you can multitask and have good grades and good sporting career. Yeah. But for me, it got to a point where, because for a long time, I was deprived from like physical activity. As soon as I got into it, it was like, it took control over my life. So I got into sports and I forgot about the academic part. So my academic was not bad, but it's not where my parents wanted it to be. So for a long time, I was living up to what they wanted me to be. And then, just finding sports and physical activities, that's what actually made me happy.
Yeah, I think there's a great quote on the difference between optimizing and maximizing life, where a lot of people believe on optimization of life, how do you get the most bang for your buck?
Yeah, no.
Well, some people think about maximizing, which is how do you get the most bucks? And I think if you have that mentality to try and dabble in both, it doesn't really work out for you.
It doesn't. It's like you have to go all in on one thing.
Yeah.
Especially at the young age. At a young age, everyone wants to do everything and all that. But if you can focus on one thing at a young age, you can really make it far.
Yeah, it's a bit of this culture we've developed now in our generation where we think that breadth matters. How many different things can you do? Because the world's your oyster. You have all the options in the world. But I think the real highlights and the real best parts of life are found in depth when you really go into something and learn it well. 100%. But I think it's interesting because you still are active in the sports world, the physical world, being a personal trainer and all these other activities you do. But I think you're more known for the business acumen and like this kind of hustler mindset.
Yeah.
Was that another transition you had to do where you went from this physical, demanding, sports-based world into the business world?
I think that was all to do with my community. Through sports, I made a lot of great people, just through being outside, talking to people, competing even with my competitors, and just chatting and learning so much things. And that's how I got into business. And that business mindset grew over time. And I was like, you know what? Because already from a young age, I had this complex of like not wanting to work for anyone. I had a terrible attitude. I had actually a terrible encounter with one of my employees back when I was younger. So I was a surf coach when I was 15, which is illegal to work when you're 15. But I did not look an average 15-year-old. So I got accepted, was mopping floors, packing surfboards away. And this lady, I'm not going to mention the name, but because her dad owned the business, she thought she could treat other people a certain type of way. And for me, that didn't sit right with me. So I was like, you know what, like, I would always like give her a buck for her money. It's like always going back and forth with her at work. And at that point, I realized that like I could never work for someone, especially how you see this unfair world it is, and you're like working for someone else. It's not for me. I'm sorry. So ever since then, I've been on a mission to try and start my own businesses. Like I started 10 different businesses, failed, restarted, failed, restarted. But one thing I know personally is I'm never going back to work for someone.
That's beautiful, man.
I stand on that till this day.
I think it's super, super interesting.
Yeah.
And the one thing I try to hearken to people, because there's a lot of people promoting this kind of lifestyle just suggestion, right? Of be your own boss, do your own thing. And I think that's true for a lot of individuals. But I think some people, a 9 to 5 does suit their soul.
Yeah.
You know, and it like
100%.
fulfills them.
And I'm not speaking down on 9 to 5s. Like it's just as hard as being a business owner. Like for me, being a business owner is a lot easier than working for a 9 to 5. It just doesn't feed my soul.
Okay.
For someone, maybe you're working a 9 to 5 and you enjoy it. It feeds your soul. You have that security. Perfect. You know, that's for you.
Yeah.
It has its pros and cons. And for me, I just chose something that was a lot easier and more familiar and soul feeding for myself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting thing. I often say this to people where, you know, for people that their job isn't satisfying enough for them, it used to be the case that we had a wealth of community. You know, you'd have your work, you'd have your family, you'd have your neighbors, you'd have whatever hobbies you do and the people you do them with, you'd have your church. You were involved in all these different organizations and you got different purpose from them. But then recently, like around COVID time, we kind of did away of community. And now people only have the work and only have the partners.
Yeah.
And people gravitate to asking for too much from one of those two things. Either they ask their partner to be too many things in their life, or they ask too much of the work. And that's kind of when they dig into this hustler mindset of I have to do things, my career has to be everything to me.
Yeah.
Which I think, you know, balance is obviously important, but if you're that person, you know, if you go be that person.
Yeah. For me, I feel like going back to last year, 2025, my word on my vision board was community. And over the past year, I've met some of the most incredible people. Like I met Alden last year. You didn't even say you would think we've known each other for years, but it's only been a year since we've known each other. And Hugo, an absolute legend. He knows everyone. He introduces you to everyone. You know, and those people became my community and they became my family. You know, they were like-minded. They were driven. They know where they want to go in life. And for me, that drew me towards them for a long time. Even after school, even during school, you know.
You felt a little bit isolated?
Felt isolated, you know, because I felt like being too ambitious was the wrong thing. You know, it's like I went to a school where academics was highly encouraged, and we were quite good in academics. I went to Westerford, and a lot of the kids there were quite different in a good way, in a bad way. It's up to their prediction. For me, I know how that was, but so they were quite different, and I really struggled to fit in. I struggled big time, and then after COVID happened, where I isolated myself, was just at home with my family. You know, I got into self-help books, started reading a lot, and that's where that entire my personality changed. You know, the drive for being very ambitious was there, but after COVID and reading these books and
it actualized
and being scared of the future, you know, it actually lit that fire in me. And I gotta do something. You know, no one's coming to save me. Hearing people getting retrenched, I'm just like a 9 to 5, and you're getting retrenched. You studied so many years, so you can get retrenched when something bad happens. So I was like, that can never be me.
I love that. No way is coming to save you was my mantra for last year.
No one is coming. Literally, as a man, no one is coming to save you. See, you're all in.
100%. And I want to touch on that because you sort of get this drive and ambition, and it's very rare to find that amongst people these days, you know, and it does feel isolating because you don't like having the same conversations as everybody else.
100%.
You don't have the same interests. And there's a beautiful quote here that I want to bounce off you. It's most people don't need more advice. They need a new ecosystem. You can't heal the same environment that made you sick. You can't grow in an environment that wants you to stay small. So
that is absolutely true.
Yes.
That is absolutely true.
So I guess my question for you is, for people that feel like they are stuck in these small environments where the dreams aren't lining up and they feel like they're being held back by the people around them. I always say you're the average of your 5 closest friends. How do you advise someone to go find people to build this ecosystem with that they can want to be the average of the people around them?
Well, first thing I would say is you're not a tree. You can move. You can always move. You know, you're not planted into the ground. You can always decide, you know what, if I'm always at the clubs, I can start going to the clubs. I can start going to book clubs. I can start going to conferences. And eventually your people will be drawn towards you, you know, and just focusing on being the best person that you can be, you will attract other people as well. So it's not a matter about going out there and looking. It's more about becoming that person that people want to be around. Your type of people want to be around, and you will see they will slowly start coming towards you.
Do you have advice for that person that's maybe in that transition period where they don't really fit in with their current group of friends anymore, but they're not quite at the place they need to be at to find this new group of people that they fit in with, and they're kind of stuck in the middle by themselves? Like, what advice would you give that person?
I would say just look at your pros and cons. Like, what value are these people adding to your life? If they're not adding much value, and if you don't see yourself growing with them, then cut them off, you know, because it's just prolonging the entire process. Because eventually you're going to get where you are because you have the ambition, you have the drive. But because you're in the wrong ecosystem, the wrong community, it's going to take you way longer. So just sitting down with yourself and analyzing everything and seeing what value people actually bring to your life and what value that you bring. Maybe you are that type of person that you want to help them out, you know, because they're your childhood friend and stuff like that. And you try and motivate them, but they just don't want to change. That is a sign already, you know, because you can take a horse to the water, but you can't force them to drink. You know, so that's the advice that I would give.
I've always told people you shouldn't be afraid to outgrow your friends. And, you know, that doesn't mean you have to hold malice towards them or, you know, that you have to look down upon them or anything like that. It just means that they're not the same people you want to be around. And you can be friendly, you can be colloquial, but if you're spending the majority of your time with them, it's never going to result in anything you're proud of.
And some people only change when they see you make the change.
100%.
They realize, so that they see that, okay, this guy was actually a good guy. He had drive. He knew where he wanted to go in life. And all of a sudden now he's not in my life anymore. That means I'm doing something wrong. Let me reassess my life and see what can I do to make myself better.
Can I tell you the craziest story about seeing someone get yourself right? We had this guy in my high school. He was about 2 years older than me. Not going to name names for a reason you'll see in a little bit. But he was a party animal. And the story I always tell to give people an idea of how crazy this guy was. We had a party at this one girl's house, and one block down from this girl's house, like this open patch of field where people sell like tables and like, you know, lawn ornaments and stuff like that on the side of the road. Then that block down there's a McDonald's. And it's like 2 a.m. and him and this other guy decide they're really drunk and they're gonna walk to McDonald's. And on the way back, this guy sees this giant metal horse lawn ornament and he just says, "It's mine." This thing surely weighs 2 tons. He drags it back to the house of the girl having the party, brings it in, and as he brings it in, like the neighborhood watch come around the corner and see him.
That is wild.
So they go into the house, and one of the other guys from the party is just leaving. He's backing out the driveway, and the police officer like knocks on his neighborhood watchman, knocks on his window and goes, "Hey, listen here, Sienna, have you seen a horse in there?" And the guy goes, "A horse? Like a horse?" And he goes, "Yo, no, Sienna, like a horse." And he goes, "No, you have to be confused." And as he turns out more, his headlights shine onto the horse.
That is wild.
And he just goes, "Oh," and long story short, like this guy is like literally in the trunk of the police van about to be arrested. They eventually convince him to get out and stuff, and like that's the kind of stories he would have all the time. Like a few years ago, found him again on Instagram. He's a pastor now. And he's like a man of God, and he's like on the straight and narrow. And just seeing that 100% flip, I was like, there's no way this is the same guy that used to be around high school. So, you know, you make that change for yourself, and you're right, other people do follow. And other people think, well, if he can do it, and he was like so bad, why can't I do it? You know, what's stopping me?
You know, I feel like we all have that, like, yes, we grow and get older, but at the same time, we still have that childlike emotions and attitude and the way we deal with life, you know. And one of the best things that I've heard is when you want a child to do something, you gotta do it yourself. You know, they see your actions, they don't hear your words. So same thing. If you see like someone that's not doing so well, doesn't want to change the life around, I mean, you can be the best example. Do your thing, carry on. If it motivates them, they will change their life. But if they don't see it, then it's their loss.
Yeah.
You know.
People can only help themselves.
Exactly.
I do want to highlight something else, because you often put a lot of emphasis on your physical body has to be right before, you know, anything else in your life goes right. And there's a brilliant quote that I saw here that I thought you'd love. It's discipline is a transferable skill. The man who can cheat on his diet is the same man who will cut corners on a contract.
100%.
The body is just the most visible ledger of your integrity.
Yeah.
So it used to be the case that, you know, if you look at the old school business tycoons, it was your guys like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, people that aren't really like the picture of health. Even like Elon Musk today is not the picture of health. But I feel like there's this new wave of kind of hustlers, of your Alex Hormozis and like, damn, I can't think of anyone but Alex Hormozi.
All of them.
Yeah, who really emphasize like the physical health as well. Why do you think this transition is kind of happening now, where people are like, I need to have everything holistically going well before things start getting momentum? And what kind of advice do you want to give to someone that's like, he wants to get both on track?
Yeah, I think this generation is they're more about longevity. You know, we want to be able to make as much money as possible and live long enough to enjoy it. And the best way to do that is still having good health. You know, whether it is you playing sports, you hitting the gym twice a week, you know, those sort of things that actually help feed your body. And it's the fundamental, as you said, you know, like whatever you do is transferable. You know, if you cheat on your diet, that automatically makes you untrustworthy. You know, because like you can't stick to a plan. You know, for me, I started working out properly in COVID, and in turn, when I started working out, I saw a massive mental change in myself. Started reading self-help books, and that came hand in hand. Started getting into business, you know, putting myself out there, meeting different people. It's just like you become a product of yourself. You know, you sell yourself. People, you don't even have to say a word. People will look at you like, this guy's disciplined. You know, he's got his life together. He knows where he wants to go. You know, like you can see, yeah, you got other people that juice and all of that, but you can tell the difference between someone that juices and someone that actually really works hard to get to their current physique. And that's someone that you really want to work towards.
Do you think that's going to deteriorate a little bit now with the rise of things like Ozempic and GLP-1 agonists and stuff like that, where people can kind of shortcut that hard work on the diet side? You know, between GLP-1s and steroids, a rich enough man can look really good within a year. So do you think that people will be able to tell when you've cheated and when you've earned it, or do you think it's going to be a bit more difficult to see?
100%. Like people will always take shortcuts. No matter what generation it is, people are always taking shortcuts. And at the end of the day, you just have to be true to yourself. You can't follow the crowd and say, you know, just because someone's taking a shortcut, then I have to take a shortcut as well. You know, you are in a one-man game. You know, you're the only player. You gotta go the mile. You know, if you wanna keep on making these millions until you're 80 years old and still enjoying it and still being able to see your grandkids, you know, and still being able to be active with your family, you know, you gotta do things the right way. You know, so worrying about what other people are focusing on when people are taking shortcuts, like, let them do them, you know.
I think the more hard-earned things always feel better anyway.
It feels a lot better. Like I struggle gaining weight. A lot of people say it's unfair, but
it is unfair.
I can eat 10 meals a day and I'll probably only gain like 1 kg, you know, and I miss one meal and I drop all that weight down again, you know, that sort of thing. So for a long time, post-COVID, prior to COVID, I was 65 kgs. After COVID, I went straight to 72 kgs. That's because I constantly like just worked out. I did 2 sessions a day. And
10% increase.
Exactly, you know, so there was nothing else to do. So I was in matric in COVID. So it was just like study, read, gym, study, read, gym, on repeat. So it was, COVID was the best time to build a healthy habit
100%.
because that's all you could focus on.
Yeah.
It became a lifestyle. If you could do that for a year, that's a lifestyle. So for me, going a whole week without training, or even like 2-3 days without training, feels weird. It feels unnatural.
100%.
You know.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe for like people watching this, I don't think everyone wants to get into bodybuilding, you know?
oh yeah.
So what would be your recommended protocols? Like 2 lifting sessions a week, a couple bouts of cardio, or do you have like a set kind of routine you want to recommend to people that don't really have an ambition or have a love for exercise?
So for me, basically, the way I structure my training programs is in a way so that I can still be functional. Because naturally, I'm an athlete. I used to be a sprinter. Back in high school, I played rugby. So I still want to be able to move. I want to be agile. I don't want to be just a massive block of muscle. You know, that's not comfortable, you know. So how I do it is I would have 3 strength sessions a week. And then I'll have jiu-jitsu on a Tuesday, jiu-jitsu on a Thursday, and then jiu-jitsu on a Saturday. And then sometimes I'd go for runs with friends. You know, those sort of things. So trying to, even the type of strength training that I do is athletic based, to make me functional, make me explosive. You know, those sort of things. It's not just like coming to the gym, because it becomes so boring. Just going to the gym and just like lifting weights all the time. I'm just like,
You're talking to a former powerlifter. I did 3 lifts for a whole year. Okay, I'll hit you with one of my favorite questions to hit anyone that's in the fitness realm. You got 10 exercises you can do the rest of your life. Everything else is off limits. Which 10 are you picking?
First one, nudicles.
What?
Nudicles.
Nudicles.
So it's basically for health, hamstring health. Okay, so it's where you're on your knees.
Oh yes.
You can do that. Tell you like you've got very healthy hamstrings. So that's my first one. I love that. I enjoy doing that. Nudicles, bench presses, pull-ups, dips, reverse pull-ups.
Reverse pull-ups?
Yeah, so you got the barbell and then you're down.
Oh yes, for the back. Yes.
You're lifting your body weight. So your legs are on the ground.
Yes.
And you're lifting your body weight up. So that's 6, right?
That's 6, yeah?
6.
You still have triceps to hit? And also shoulders. You haven't hit shoulders?
The thing is, with dips, you get your triceps in.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll probably put deadlifts in there as well. So that's 7.
Whole body, yeah?
Yeah, full body.
Still need shoulders?
Naturally, my shoulders grow really fast.
Oh, so you don't even worry about it.
So I don't stress too much about my shoulders. I can do 1 week of shoulders and it will look like I've been training shoulders for a long time.
Okay.
I try and stay away too much on shoulders because I don't have enough shirts.
I don't have enough shirt.
What else? So running cannot be included.
Running can be.
Okay.
So any sport is also an exercise. So if you want to include...
Jiu-jitsu, definitely jiu-jitsu. Yoga for flexibility.
Okay.
And then
Some core maybe?
core, all of these exercises, you need to utilize your core.
I agree. I think core is so overrated.
So that's why, like, when every single time I finish a workout, the first muscle that hurts is my core because I'm always engaging my core. So
Interesting.
people will ask like, why don't you ever do core? But like you always have a strong core, like because I'm lifting and I'm engaging my core. You don't need to. You don't need to like make a specific time just for core. Your core should be constantly working.
Planks are so overrated.
It's overrated.
So overrated.
But like it's good to test how long you can hold a plank.
Yeah.
How long you can hold a 20-minute plank.
That's ridiculous, dude. Your list is so much better than my first guest list because I told him he didn't have anything for his shoulders and he's like, no man, I got pull-ups in there. I'm like, how are you hitting shoulders on pull-ups?
You can sort of see like the rear delts if you going all the way up and you sort of engaging your rear delts when you squeeze at the top.
Yeah, that was all his shoulders though was pull-ups. I found it hilarious.
Now, I think I've got one more and sprints.
Sprints. Man, I do the coffee runs here in Cape Town. For any of you that don't know what it is, go check out Running to Coffee Cape Town. They're an amazing club to join for running. And they had that beer mile thing.
Yeah.
And we did it in a relay. So everyone just did 1 beer in 400 meters.
Okay.
It's the first time I did a sprint in years. Both my hamstrings were cooked. I couldn't do it.
That's one of the things, like when you're young, you're able to do it, like your muscles your muscle elasticity, it's still there. And then as you get older, because you stop practicing these exercises, you lose all of that that functionality.
Yeah.
So that's why I made it one of my goals to do a lot of sprints this year. Alden's holding me accountable for that, and yeah, because I don't want to lose that. I want to be 60 years old and be able to sprint still.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a dream, right? 60 years old and sprinting. Oh.
That's those sort of habits that you start building from a young age already. You just, even if you dedicate 30 minutes once a week doing sprints, you'll
reap the rewards for it.
You'll reap the reward.
Yeah. That's super interesting. I got another one of your quotes here from that great post you did a few weeks ago. It's I'm 22. I'm not afraid to admit that I don't want a normal life. I want something extraordinary. I know it takes a different level of sacrifice.
Yeah.
There's another one on this as well, not from your post, but relating to it, where it says, mediocrity is a slow death. It's comfortable, it's safe, and it's quiet. For people of your psychology, normal isn't peace, it's suffocation.
100%. I feel like in this generation, people like us, we are forced to suppress our emotions. So if I say I don't want a normal life, someone will be like, oh, why can't you just accept a normal life? That's if you want it perfect, you do you, and I have no problem with you wanting a normal life, but I don't want a normal life. I want to be able to do things that my parents never done when they were younger. I want to give my family the life that they've never had. I want to be the first in my bloodline to achieve specific things. So if you want a normal life perfect, we can still be friends, we can do everything that we've been doing as normal. But don't stop me from wanting a better life or make me feel guilty that I want a better life for myself just because you content with your life.
Yeah, don't judge me and I won't judge you.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
Let me do me.
Maybe on that, what part of the normal life do you think really, except for not liking reporting to somebody, what part of it bothers you? Is it the lack of freedom, the limitations upon it?
It's always freedom. I think that's one thing that's been fought for in history. Everyone's always fighting for freedom. Back in slavery, people are fighting for freedom. Now, you don't see slavery, but it's in a different form. And everyone's trying. There are a certain group of people that are trying to escape that and trying to find that type of freedom. Whether it's a financial freedom, mental freedom, spiritual freedom, there's always people trying to find freedom. You just got to define it for yourself.
Yeah.
And for me, the freedom is a financial freedom so that I can do things for my family that will help them get to a specific level in life. It's not for the titles. For me, solely for family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's always an interesting reasoning for me because, I have a very similar feeling towards it. I just kind of have my mom. My mom's my everything.
Yeah.
And I always spoke about, man, gotta get rich one day to support mom.
Yeah.
And someone said to me one day, your mom doesn't want you to have any amount of money. Your mom would rather have you happy. And obviously it's not, mutually exclusive things. The process of getting a lot of money or the process of being successful can also be the thing that makes you happy.
Yeah.
But do you ever think that maybe it's a sacrifice more for yourself than it is for them, but you kind of painted it as something for someone else?
I feel like as men, we have to make a lot of sacrifices. Everyone views sacrifices as a bad thing, and I feel like you can't really call yourself a man if you're not willing to sacrifice something for someone else, because that's what a sacrifice is. Giving up your life for someone else, giving up your freedom for someone else so someone else can do something in the later future. I mean, my parents, they sacrificed, they came from DRC to here, not for me to live a normal life. You'll never meet a Nigerian person that comes here and lives an average life. No, because their parents actually, the mission and the whole journey that it takes for a foreign national to get to South Africa and actually make a name for themselves, it's a lot harder.
Yes.
It's like my dad experienced xenophobia when he came here. He lost everything. He had to build from scratch. So for me, it'll be a disservice for me to be content with the type of lifestyle that I have now because of what he did to get me to where I am.
That's incredible. Yeah, maybe that's the underlying factor because I'm also a foreigner.
Yeah.
For For those of you that don't know, we've met 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But my parents moved here from Cuba.
Yeah.
And communist Cuba is a rough place to grow up. And yeah, it was this extremely tough thing where, you know, they've sacrificed, left their families behind, left their culture behind, came to a place where they barely speak the language.
Yeah.
And they came as doctors. And when you come as a doctor on the Cuban programs that used to exist, you got placed. So we got placed in Benda, it's a literal township.
Yeah.
You know, so to go away from your family, away from what you know, into an actual township in a country you don't know. You're right, like there is so much sacrifice that they've done for me. I gotta be willing to sacrifice something for them. And something else I've noticed, and this is something you make me attest to, because my parents came from communist Cuba, the financial literacy wasn't there.
Oh, 100%.
So the salaries were good, but how to use those salaries isn't there. But I think this is a reoccurring thing. You know, I don't think a lot of people don't have financial literacy. Across age groups. I see 40-year-olds blowing the money more than I see 20-year-olds blowing the money. In your opinion, how does one learn financial literacy? And also, if a friend comes up to you and they view financial literacy as this wall that they can never climb, what's the basic principles that you would say to them? Just do these few things and you're good.
There's not like a few things to do and good. I think everyone has a different way of getting to financial literacy. So for me, what I would say is get a salary first.
Yes.
Then you will see money. And when you see money, you will start to sort of see, okay, I worked hard for this thing. All right. So if I spend this, that means this is how many hours that I work to get that. So is that really reasonable for me to use that money? That's how my well, personal training as well. So like I charge 500 Rand per session, you go. So 500 Rand per session, if I go out and I decide to take a girl out on a date and show her a fun time and spend 1,500 Rand.
That's 3 sessions.
That's 3 sessions. That's 3 hours of the day. So something good better come out of that. That's always my mentality. It's like, it's gotta be worth it at the end of the day. Maybe either you become my girlfriend or, you know, we never see each other again. So that's sort of my mentality. So I would first say, get a salary, because you won't understand money until you start earning. You gotta fuck around and find out. You know, you're gonna make mistakes along the way. Like I would probably say I only became like financially literate, like properly financially literate, about 2 years ago, you know. And crazy story how I actually got into like finance and starting to think about money in a different way was when I was 19. I actually dated a woman that was 31 years old.
Oh wow.
Well, not dated, but like we had like a situationship. And you know, she was in a different place in her life. You know, she wants to settle down, she wants kids. She was chatting to me about finances, and I'm like, this is actually quite interesting. You know, she was telling me about like different investment options, and I'm telling you, after that conversation, literally the next day, I went to Coronation, which is an asset management company, opened up an account, started putting cash in every single month. And for me, that whole conversation taught me more than I would have ever learned where I was if I had to go sit in the classroom and just like learn randomly.
I think mentorship is the best way to learn anything.
Even if it's about dating women that are 10 years older.
Yeah. Maybe speaking on the dating part of things, you also had another interesting quote from your Instagram where you said, weddings are basically funerals with cake.
Honestly.
So some people could take that as a pessimistic view on love and marriage. Did you take that as like an indictment on the idea of love, or was it just kind of poking a little fun?
Not really. That comes, of course, I'll retract all of that back to community, right? If you have a community that really supports you and backs you, weddings are perfect to bring them together and be like, this is a sign of my love, and I want you to experience this love with me. But if you don't have a strong community, you don't have a strong group, you just want to have a wedding so you can invite family and friends and their family plus one and stuff, it's a waste. It's a waste, honestly, because like half of the people there you don't know, you know. So I'm more of like, if it's a small group of friends that you know and you really want to express their love and they've been with you through the entire journey, you know, I back that. I would have a wedding.
Yes.
You know, I think currently I would have a wedding based on the community that I have, you know, because they've been through with me like from the get-go. You know, I tell them everything. I tell them like, there's this absolutely gorgeous girl that I met and I think she's gonna be my wife, you know, or maybe like I'm having problems with this girl. I don't think it's gonna work out. You know, they've been through that entire journey. So the least that I owe them is to celebrate that love together with them. It may not be. I feel like weddings are like massive weddings are overemphasized.
Overrated.
Yeah, and overrated. Exactly. You know, you don't need that.
Yeah.
You know, you can literally be in a room or in a hall with your closest friends, family, and just celebrating love.
Yeah. I think there's obviously going to be some form of a healthy middle ground, right? Because I also don't like the idea of people just getting into a courtroom and signing a document and calling it a day. Maybe it is because it's romanticized, but I think there's something of value to romanticizing these days. You know, like the older you get, the less milestones are to hit.
Yeah.
So having a milestone that you're like, I can't wait for this day, and having plans for it, I think that's completely healthy. But I agree with, you know, if the whole point of the day is to show other people how great your day is, then you've kind of missed the mark on it, you know?
Because it sort of has become a competition. You know, it's like, my husband spent this much on our wedding, spent half a million on our wedding, or we had our wedding at this location. Now it's like people start to resent you for it because you talk about it so much. You know, it's like you can't even enjoy yourself, enjoy your wedding in peace, because like there's people that are like, oh, look at this girl, she decided to rather, or look at this guy, decided to rather spend R1 million for a wedding. Is that insane? You know, there are family members that will always talk behind your back, you know, those sort of things. So I would rather take that R1 million, go on a month honeymoon with my wife, you know, make memories, hit those milestones that you said, you know, rather than pay for 100 ungrateful people
to have food that they're not going to talk well about.
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's different if it's your community and you know they have your best interests at heart, you know, then that's completely different.
Yeah. Do you have maybe any opinions on the process? You know, to get married, you first have to find a partner.
Yeah.
I think dating in the modern world is such a dilemma right now. It's quite hard to meet people.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for the bachelors out there that really feel like they can't find their person? The dating apps aren't scratching the itch.
To be honest, I'm probably like the furthest person away from finding love. So I can't really give advice on that. I think your person will find you. You know, I always believe in that. Like, what's meant to be will happen. Of course, you got to put the effort in to make things work, to see if it's going to work.
Yeah. I will challenge that a little bit, because I think the idea of the person finding you, it's true, but it's not whole truth. And the fact that, like, if I have a friend who sits in his mom's basement the whole day, plays video games, and lays with like Cheeto dust on his stomach, the chances that he finds someone is not going to be there.
That's why I say you got to put in the effort. You know, you got to meet them halfway, and you'll find your person.
Yeah. The way I've always described it to people is it's a twofold process, and then after that, it's just luck. The twofold process is be the best version of yourself,
100%,
and then give yourself opportunities to meet people. Other than that, it's up to luck then. You know, you don't really have much say on who you meet or whether the person aligns with you. But I think the part that really has to be emphasized is that give yourself opportunities to find people, right?
I think one of the biggest things that I've struggled as well, you know, especially with just in the dating scene, is that being too ambitious is seen as a problem in the dating world.
But also, if you're super ambitious, you look for ambitious people, and there's not a whole lot of them, you know.
100%, especially when it comes to the opposite gender. You know, it's like it's really hard. Like, yes, you will look for a pretty face and all that, and you will try to get to know them. And every girl says, you know what, I want a man that's hardworking, a man that's ambitious, until they actually get a man that's hardworking and ambitious, and they see they can't handle it. You know, it takes a different type of woman to handle an ambitious man. You know, it's going to be, because for me personally, like, I regard myself as ambitious, you know, not to blow my own horn, but, you know, there's days where, because I get easily overstimulated, when I'm around people too much. So there's times where I just want to be alone because I'm a personal trainer. I work from 5 a.m. in the morning till around about 7 p.m. in the evening. So when I get the slightest chance to be alone, I will take it. I don't want to be outside doing crazy things all the time. I want to do things like when I'm outside, that means I'm fully recovered. Like I'm rebooted. I want to be around people.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times it's like I'd rather just stay inside, do work, and go sleep.
Yeah. Can I give you maybe, I don't want to call it advice because I'm also...
I will take your advice right now.
I'm a very single man, so I'm maybe not the best person to give this advice either, but have you heard of the lamp analogy at all? So if you're starting a home, and the first thing you have to go buy is a lamp, it's fine. You can pick out any lamp, plug it in, you won't have a problem. If you've crafted the perfect home with the aesthetic that you want and everything's perfectly created, and you have to go buy a lamp, now it's really difficult to find one that slots in, right? And what analogy is trying to say is, if you've crafted your life very meticulously, it's going to be very difficult to find someone that slots in perfectly into that. So your options are either be more okay with being yourself, or being by yourself, or find ways to wiggle people in more, allow space for someone to enter your life.
Yeah, 100%. Like I feel like over the years, I've become a lot better with that. Like I've become more open to like, you know what? And maybe I do want to go on dates. I do want to go on cute dates. Maybe I do want to like go and see other people. Those sort of things. Like I become more open to that. Like before, I used to be like, it's just hustle. And it's sort of like you got to see if you still got the game. You got to see if you got game.
It's a muscle, yeah.
Exactly. It's like you gotta. Everything is a muscle, you gotta build it shortly and like just be out there, put yourself out there. You don't have to try too hard.
Yeah.
Just like let someone know that you like them, and whatever they do with that information, it's up to them. Like for me, I'll tell you I like you, and if the way you respond is up to you.
Yeah.
But trust me, I'm not going back to chase after you and be like, oh, well, what do you think? Or this and that and that.
You have to be down.
Yeah, but be straightforward with me and tell me you don't like me. Don't say, oh, maybe, because then it's like you're giving false hope. Just say, no, like, I'm not interested. Cool.
This is a concept that I often struggle with is the love at first sight thing versus how most relationships actually form. So they did this survey of women, and they basically like asked them, when you first met your current partner, were you like, oh, they're the one, or did they grow on you over time? And do you want to take a guess at how many of them said grew on me over time?
How many?
60%.
That's wild.
So 2/3 of women, at first they're like, not sure about this guy. And then as they got to know them, it became better.
Yeah.
But it's tough because for me personally, I imagine love being like this spark, from the first date, I wanted her and she wanted me back. And that's not the reality of things in most cases. And it's a bit of a difficult square to circle where it's like, I want it to feel like love, but maybe the idealized version of love out there isn't the reality that we face.
I think for me, for everyone, love has a different perception, and they view love in a different way. And for me, love is, how I would define love is willing to sacrifice things for other people. That is love. So if I meet you, right, and I'm like, wow, you're going to be my wife. Okay. So you want the best for your wife. That means you're going to have to sacrifice a lot of things. You're going to have to work hard so that you can give your wife the life that they deserve.
But does that desire for sacrifice, that willingness to sacrifice, does it have to be from the word go, or can it just develop over time?
You develop it over time, because you're not going to say it. You're not going to know immediately. There's like, I don't know, less than 1% of people that actually say meet their wives for the first time, like, I'm going to marry you.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it grows in you over time. Over time, you realize, okay, like this woman, like, even though I'm not making myself available too much, she's still sticking around. She's putting so much effort. She's backing me. She understands my dream, and I understand her dreams. It's like now we're working it's a partnership.
Yeah.
And like over time you realize like she's in it for the long run.
Yeah.
She's not just here for fun games and to see how things go.
Yeah.
And then that is my definition of love. That's when you decide like, She deserves the world.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting because I think people have this idea that back in the old days, men used to be super forward and they would approach you and ask you for a coffee. And I think we try to replicate that with like dating apps. It's like you meet someone with the intention of dating them, or even dating events, you meet someone with the intention of dating them. But back in the day, the way most relationships actually formed was you were in a football club with your one friend, you went to a match, some dude brought his sister, and you guys just hit off.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't an intention behind it.
Yeah.
So it's almost more like finding circles where you're going to find people of the opposite gender, which for your hobbies, you know, it's quite a tough thing. You know, not a lot of women out there doing jiu-jitsu, you know, not a lot of women out there trying to, or I guess now more women in gym, but like,
There's running clubs.
Yeah.
You know, that's the new dating site.
the new day is.
Running leg clubs. We're going to actually a running leg club today. So
I'm also going. I'll take you guys there. Yeah, small world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like stuff like that. Like running clubs is a good one. I think guys need to, the same way women have infiltrated the weight section of the gym, men have to infiltrate the hot yoga lessons.
I think over time men have lost their confidence because there's so much like devices where we can sort of mask ourselves and just be like, you know what, I'll be confident but over the screen. Like I'll slide into your DM and tell you you're pretty, and then when I see you in person, I'll act like I've never said that at all.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, it's like if I tell you you're pretty in like over the DM, I'll tell you you're pretty in person. You know, it's like those sort of things. And a lot of men just try and hide behind their screens.
Yeah. There's this very interesting called sedation hypothesis, where it's a Chris Williamson theory that he's kind of trotted out that I'm a very big fan of, where he says, you know, at most points in human history, when men were at very low points, such as today, there was a lot more violence associated with it.
Yeah.
You know, like the revolts, the wars, all this kind of stuff. So he's trying to figure out why isn't there as much violence now? And you could argue there is, right? And open to both sides of the argument. Like there is, you know, a lot of aggressive men out there, but I'd still believe it's a minority of the population, right?
Yeah.
And the reason he thinks for that is because people's or men's desires are slowly being sedated. So a good one is video games. Video games is like a micro sedation for competition, competitiveness, being good at something, being good at your work or being good at sport, whatever. And it's enough to scratch that itch, but not enough to satisfy it.
Yeah.
And another one with dating is like pornography.
Yeah.
Pornography is enough to sedate that need for connection,
100%.
but it's not enough to satisfy that need for connection. So I think the one thing that a lot of, if you're particularly a man and you want to get into dating, the best thing you can do is like get off your phone. As old timely as that sounds, like get off your phone, stop sedating yourself slowly.
Yeah.
If that means deleting Instagram and dating apps, that means deleting Instagram and dating apps.
Yeah.
If that means deleting video games, that means deleting video games. But remove the thing that you're using to sedate your wants and desires with, so you can actually feel the drive to go satisfy them out in the real world.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's true. That's 100% true.
Okay. I guess the last thing I want to talk to you about is you are obviously an immigrant from the DRC, and it's a little bit difficult kind of integrating into society. I've always had this issue where I've never really felt fully South African, despite being born here. Lived here my whole life, you know, but always felt like a me and then everyone else kind of thing. And, you know, I think about it sometimes like, are my kids going to feel this way, you know, or my grandkids going to feel this way? There's always going to be this element of being an outlier. And now with like the world being this super, you know, borderless kind of state where people immigrate all the time and there's pockets of communities all over the world, how do you think someone integrates into a community, and how can you really feel like this place is home to you? What steps do you recommend for those people?
I think people let you in easily when you add value. It all comes down to adding value, because you can be a foreigner from anywhere else, and you come into a country like South Africa, and if you are not adding any sort of value, I mean, there's a lot of foreigners that stay in the townships. You never hear of them. You know, it's like they in the outskirts, they just living their lives like no one even knows they're here. You know, so it's like about adding value. The more you add value, the easier it is for people to accept you. The easier it is for people to put you into their circles and introduce you to people. And that's how you start feeling. I feel like that's been one of my biggest thing, you know, in able to get involved is you have to sort of bring something to the table. You can't just come to another country and isolate yourself and live life like like you alone, like you back at home. You know, you here, you gotta show those people that like I'm here, this is the value that I'm adding. Cool, perfect. They'll introduce you, they'll invite you into their homes.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's an interesting idea. I'm not sure if I 100% agree with it for the reason that seems slightly transactional, right? In the sense of,
not in the sense of like finance. I'm just talking about like,
but take it out of finance, maybe status, or it's kind of what can you do for me mentality towards friendship, which I don't think most people want. I do believe that you don't just keep people around. Right? You keep people around for a reason, whether that's relief or like enjoyment out of life, people that you have fun with. You keep those people for that value.
But the way I mean it is in the sense of like, for example, if I come into your community, come into your country, right, and you're like, this man can't add any value in terms of like helping me grow and building my mentality so I can become the person that I want to become. That's the type of value that I'm talking about, not the value of like, I need to give you something or you need to give me something so you can accept me. It's not, because as much as you hate, like, you hate to think about it, but like everything in life is like that. If you don't add value to someone's life, they're going to walk away from you. You know?
Do you think that value could come in the form of maybe kindness or just
everything.
a shoulder to listen to or shoulder to lean on? Yeah.
Everything. It's not one thing that you focus on. Like, for example, when I came to South Africa, my parents were babysitting a South African family's kid, and easily they introduced us to their friends, and we got integrated into like their whole community. Those sort of things. We're adding value. We're giving them something. It's not like we're just coming to the country and just taking. You know, that sort of thing.
Maybe a little bit tangential to this. Obviously, if you're integrating into the country, you have to kind of accept their ways of life and their ways of doing things.
You gotta respect that.
But there's also an element of you want to keep your roots.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that balancing act of I'm accustoming myself to South Africa, but I want to remember where I come from and what that means to me?
Yeah, you can always do that by keeping the same community. You know, so for a long time when we got to South Africa, only recently actually, I started eating more of like the normal South African food. But before that, we used to import all our food from the DRC. You know, we have traditional food every single day, Monday to Sunday, you know, and because it has a lot of nutrients, that's what we used to, you know, and it helped us like grow up. Like my brother is like, he's a big guy, you know, so it's like, it feeds into your body, you know, it builds you up as well. And that's what my family believes. So that's one thing that they decided like they're not going to leave behind, the nutritional food. So we import our nutritional food, and that's what we had growing up as kids.
Do you share that culture with other people and try to?
100%. Like even like I try and get a lot of my friends integrated into that as well. But have you had pap before? You know, let me make some pap for you, because I cook pap, and like that's one thing as an African child you should know how to make pap. So it's like trying to introduce my friends into those things, and also like having them introduce me into like different culture, into like what they normally do in their culture. That's one thing that fascinates me. You know, when someone from a different culture decides, you know what, you should actually try this. That makes me so excited. That's why like I had this whole thing. I was actually chatting to a few of my mates. I was like, I don't think I could ever date into my race, because I know what we expect every single time. Whereas dating, not race, but culture. Okay. So if I date someone from a different culture, every day it's gonna be a surprise for me, because I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You know?
Someone's going to clip that part of dating out the race and make it go viral. Maybe just a bit on more on the DRC.
Yeah.
Is there parts of the country that you're still really proud of, and things that like you wish the rest of the world could see about the DRC? Or
I'm proud of the entire country. There's no specific part of the DRC that I'm like really, really proud of, but like the entire country, I just feel like it's unfortunate because we are being taken advantage of. You know, like if you look back at the history of the DRC, you know, the way that they got the democracy, you know, it was in a way where like it crippled the entire country. You know, they got the democracy, they kicked out all the white people. Cool. Now now all these white people who are lawyers, doctors, engineers leave the country, and you left with guys that are not educated to run the country. And now you've got all this mess, and now other people see that and take advantage of that. So it's like it's unfortunate situation, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. Because of the government, unless like the government that are currently alive, they pass away and we have a completely new educated generation that goes back to the country and takes over and starts running the country in a better way, then we might see change. We might see an even stronger country than the US, And I think I hope I'll one day be alive to actually see that.
Yeah, I think it's a super interesting thing. My mom doesn't have a lot of great things to say about Cuba. She's not a big fan of the place. But the one thing she's always highlighted is the one thing Castro did right was he made education mandatory and easily accessible. And I think that's maybe something that third world countries don't usually do, like South America, Africa, certain parts of Asia. And the reason is if you educate the country too much, they start to catch on to your BS,
100%.
And
it was luxury. In the DRC, it's luxury to have education. Even in other countries, Nigeria and Kenya, that's why you see when these young foreign kids come to other countries, they excel so well because education is luxury. It's like you had to work hard to get a proper education.
Yeah.
So by the time they got education, they could read books and stuff like that. They were like, oh, wow, let me take over. Now you see doctors from Kenya, doctors from Nigeria. It's like those sort of things. It's very empowering to see that, to see people from other foreign national countries actually doing great things when they're actually given the opportunity. Because I feel like if just before the whole democracy thing happened, if young people in DRC were given education, I feel like we would have had like a completely different conversation. I don't even think I'd be sitting here. I mean, you saw the example of Mobutu. He was one of the guys that he was allowed to get educated. They moved him into like different stages of education that other Congolese people weren't allowed to get. And he ended up becoming president for a short period of time, and those sort of things shows like the power of education. If you give a starving child education, they can actually take advantage of that and change the world.
Yeah, it's just like the mass population, if you're the only one that sees the truth, if you're the only one that sees the government isn't treating us right, they're not keeping to their promises, you start sounding like conspiracy theorists.
Exactly, and that's exactly what happened. That's what got him killed.
Yeah.
Now everyone's like, well, this guy is a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. But if everyone has education, then it becomes a different story.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've loved this chat. I feel like we could go on for hours, but unfortunately, I'm still on the 9-to-5 grind. I have to get back to my work. But I'm going to hit you with one last round, and this is the lightning round.
Okay.
So where it works, you can get 10 questions. You got 15 seconds to answer each question.
Yeah.
You can't repeat an answer. You can't change an answer. You can't elaborate on your answer.
Okay.
Once you say it, it's solidified into internet history, and people will clip it for the rest of time to make fun of you.
Damn.
You ready?
Pressure.
Okay. And one, who's your biggest role model?
Biggest role model. I don't have one.
Oh, damn. Dead or alive, who's the one person you'd like to share your last meal with?
Probably my dad.
You have one meal for the rest of your life. What is it?
Chicken and rice.
Chicken and rice. The gym bro answer. What's something coming up in your life that excites you?
Oh, well, my business. Yeah.
You want to give a quick shout out for everybody?
My mining business that I'm actually starting in the commodity mining space.
Amazing, man. The gym is no longer an option. You have to choose one sport to do for the rest of your life. Which one is it? Jiu-jitsu.
Oh, kickboxing, mixed martial art.
You can't change it. It's jiu-jitsu for the rest of history.
All right.
One viral video with 1 million views or 1,000 loyal email subscribers?
1,000 royal email subscribers, of course.
Who's your podcast dream guest?
Stephen Bartlett.
What's one failure you're most grateful for today?
Not going into university studying law.
Is ambition a blessing or a curse?
Can be both.
Who would you like to see next on the Interview of Agu?
Hugo Jansen.
Hugo Jansen.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first, Hugo. You've been called out to come onto the show. Tommy, thanks so much for the wonderful interview. It's been so lovely chatting to you.
Yeah.
You want to say anything to the people before you go?
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Yeah, I mean, it's a brand new year. Going into the new year, just have to have a different mindset and just hustle. Stay laser focused and carry on with the process. If you started something last year, just carry on with that grind. If you're starting something new, you got to put your head down, get it started, and it will be rewarding at the end of the day.
Hustle through it.
Hustle.
If everyone wants to keep up with you, where can they find you?
Instagram. I'm not too active on LinkedIn, but Instagram as I am Tommy Jones.
I am Tommy Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, and that will be it, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, follow for more. And if you want to come onto the podcast, remember to reach out to me on any platform or fill in the link in the description. Until next time, have a great day.
Yes.